The twin moons of Eldora hung low in the night sky, casting a silver-blue glow over the thick jungle canopy. Nathan Cole, a freelance xenobiologist from Earth, pushed aside a tangle of glowing vines, sweat trickling down his brow. He had come to this unexplored quadrant of the planet in search of rare flora, hoping to cash in by selling samples to the Bio Guild. What he didn't expect was the low, guttural groan that pierced the jungle silence. He froze. At first, Nathan thought it might be one of the nocturnal predators the locals warned him about. But the sound wasn't threatening, it was pained. He crept forward, heart pounding, brushing away foliage until he came upon a clearing where something massive lay sprawled across the forest floor. It was a beast, 10 feet tall at the shoulder, covered in scaled black fur with deep violet stripes across its limbs. One of its hind legs was clearly broken. Blood glistened on its side, and its amber eyes, filled with pain, locked onto Nathan's. Instinct screamed at him to run. But he didn't. Instead, Nathan whispered, "Easy now," slowly stepping closer with both hands raised. The beast didn't snarl. It didn't growl. It simply groaned again and dropped its head, too weak to move. Nathan set his pack down and began pulling out his medkit. Over the next 2 days, Nathan treated the creature's wounds, fed it a concoction of protein paste and filtered water, and even built a temporary shelter for them both. He nicknamed it Shade for the way it blended into the jungle shadows. What puzzled him was how intelligent Shade seemed. It responded to voice tones, followed simple gestures, and once, when Nathan was about to touch a strange, pulsating vein on its side, it gently batted his hand away with surprising precision. Not like an animal. More like a soldier protecting a vital injury. As Shade recovered, it began to stand. It limped but moved with a strange grace. Nathan recorded everything on his holocom: limb structure, feeding patterns, even vocalizations. He couldn't wait to submit the data to the guild. Then came the day the sky ripped open. A Royal-class cruiser descended from orbit in a burst of light and force, scattering trees and sending wildlife fleeing. Nathan stared in horror and awe. Only one entity on Eldora wielded that kind of power. The Baroness. Baroness H, the feared and enigmatic ruler of 3 systems, whose name whispered like poison across the stars. She was known for her cold rule, her mastery of telekinetics, and above all, her infamous pet, a bioengineered creature born of war and shadow. One bred to kill entire platoons. And now that very pet stood behind Nathan, defensively growling at the approaching guards. The Baroness emerged from the craft, cloaked in silver mesh and crystalline armor. Her eyes, glowing a brilliant violet, settled on Shade, and then on Nathan. "You touched it?" she asked, her voice a blade wrapped in silk. Nathan stood his ground. "I saved its life." The soldiers raised their plasma rifles, but the Baroness held up a hand. "Do you know what it is?" she asked. "No," Nathan admitted. "But I know it didn't deserve to die." Her eyes narrowed. "That beast is a living weapon forged by my scientists. A war beast, trained to obey only my command. Has no empathy. It does not bond." Nathan glanced at Shade. The creature stood close to him now, protective, almost loyal. "Looks like this one does." Ending. The Baroness stepped forward, and for the first time, there was uncertainty in her perfect features. Shade walked toward her, paused, and then turned back to Nathan, pressing its massive body gently against him. Gasps rose from her guards. "This has never happened before," she whispered. Nathan placed a hand on Shade's head. "Maybe you never gave it a choice." Baroness stared at him. "No, at them." And then, to his shock, she smiled. A real, broken smile that belonged not to a warlord, but to someone long estranged from compassion. "Everything that obeys me was designed to," she said. "Even my soldiers, my ships, my palace. I created a world where control meant safety. But you managed to break the first law of that order. By showing kindness." Nathan asked, incredulous. She nodded slowly. "And gaining its loyalty. Something I was never able to do, even with all my science." The soldiers shifted uneasily as Shade moved to stand between Nathan and the Baroness again. "I could take it back by force," she said. "I could destroy you and retrieve it." Nathan didn't flinch. "You could. But then you'll lose the one being that's ever shown you loyalty out of choice, not fear." The Baroness was silent for a long time. Then slowly she raised her hand and snapped her fingers. The guards lowered their weapons. "You will come with me, Nathan Cole," she said at last. "You've done something I thought impossible, and I intend to understand how." He glanced at Shade, who gave a low approving grunt. "I'm not a prisoner." "No," she said. "You're an anomaly. And perhaps a hope." With that, the trio, man, beast, and Baroness, vanished into the jungle mist toward the ship, bound not by fear or dominance, but by a shared moment of defiance against a universe governed by obedience. And in that moment the universe shifted. Not from war, not from conquest, but from a single act of compassion. The silence that followed the Baroness's words was thick, charged with the weight of history, power, and something unexpected: vulnerability. Nathan stood tall, not out of pride but principle. Shade, once an unthinking war creature, now stood beside him, not because it had to, but because it chose to. Baroness Oage, ruler of 3 systems, mistress of bioengineered weapons and fear-driven order, stared at the man who had managed to connect with something she never could. And slowly her stance softened. "You didn't train it," she said, almost disbelieving. "You didn't control it. You simply cared." Nathan gave a soft nod. "Sometimes that's all it takes." She looked at Shade, who still bristled when her guard stepped forward. Then the Baroness did something no one expected. Certainly not her soldiers, and not even herself. She stepped forward. Not with power. Not with command. But with hesitation. Shade tensed, but Nathan whispered, "It's okay." The creature allowed her approach. The Baroness extended a hand. Slow, respectful. Shade sniffed it. Then, with deliberate calm, pressed its head to her palm. Tears welled in her eyes, alien and iridescent, glinting in the twin moonlight. "This was meant to be a weapon," she whispered. "But perhaps it's been waiting all this time to be something more." Nathan stepped closer. "We all have." A long silence passed, not heavy this time, but cleansing, as if the jungle itself exhaled. Then she turned to her soldiers. "Lower your weapons. The mission is over." One of the captains protested. "But my lady, this is your property." Her voice cracked like a whip. "It was never mine. Not truly." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "So what now?" The Baroness looked to the sky, then to the jungle. "Now, begin again. I've ruled through fear for centuries. But maybe there's another way." Her violet eyes locked with Nathan's. "You'll come with me. Both of you. I need to understand how you did this. How you made something built for war choose peace." Nathan hesitated. "And if I refuse?" She smiled, not with menace, but something unfamiliar, humility. "Then I'll ask again. As someone who's finally learned the value of being asked, not obeyed." He glanced at Shade. The beast gave a low approving rumble. Nathan extended a hand. Then ask properly. The Baroness stepped forward and, for the first time in her reign, asked a man, not ordered him. And in that moment 3 beings, one human, one creature, and one ruler, walked toward a new future. Not bound by dominance but by the rarest force in the galaxy.